Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Andrew and Eric aren't going to be here today, so it's just going to be me teaching. And yeah, we're just going to, I guess, wait for some more people to join. I know a lot of people weren't here last time, so we didn't do much last class because of that. But hopefully there are more people today, and yeah. All right. Why don't we get? Let's wait for some more people, because right now there's like, what, 7 people out of like 20. So yeah. All right, well, I guess no one else is joining, so we're just going to be permanently running at 7 out of 10. Okay. So, where is it? Here it is. All right. So last class we reviewed looping and if statements and all the stuff like that. So this class we're going to learn some new stuff, and then we're going to see what projects are. All right. So if you recall, in Java, we can store things as variables. So that would be like strings, ints, stuff like that. But there are also different data types like Boolean. And one of them is an array. So an array is the first real example of a class or an object that we're interacting with today in Java. So an array is a object, and it's basically like a list of variables. It's a bit confusing because there's also another data type called lists, which are like arrays but different. We'll get to that later. Anyways, so yeah, an array is kind of like a bag. Let's say we're going shopping, right? We're going shopping for vegetables. And we go to Wegmans and we know, okay, our bag can hold like 19, or let's say we're shopping for tomatoes. We know our bag can hold 19 tomatoes. So yeah, so this is basically us defining the bag right here. Yeah, so this right here is the initializer. It looks a lot different from other initializers, but you can see like this is the name, we have the type, this is basically the same, equals, and then this is different right here. This is the same, this is different. Yeah, so here we're basically making an array of size 19, like we have a bag of size 19, and I'm going to fill it up with tomatoes, right? So I'm going to fill it up with like tomato 1, tomato 2, tomato 3, tomato 4, tomato 5, and like that, we can fill up arrays with different types of things. Like, for example, this array, this is an integer array, which means it can only hold integers, and we can see if it's size 19, we can fill up everything right here, right? So yeah, arrays can only hold one type of thing. Like, for example, if you make an int array, you can't put strings in it. You can't put floats, doubles, booleans in it. You have to put ints in it. Yeah, just like how if you make a string array, like right here, I can't put an int in here. It has to be a string. So yeah, let's break down the initializer, shall we? So an array is square brackets. So you can see if we're making an integer array, we're going to do int and then square brackets to signify it's an integer array. We're going to type in the name. This is like, it's just like typing int classmates, right? But now you have square brackets saying it's an array. Here we have a new word, new. So when you're making an object, it's a bit different from making like primitive things like, you know, strings, or not strings, not primitive, but like ints, chars, booleans, doubles. You have to put a new here to basically declare that like you're making a new object. So if you see new on a line like here in a statement, you'll know that they're making a new object. And then here we just have the size of the array in the square brackets in 19. And then this array will have 19 places for you to put ints in. So if we were to do like, hold up, let's see if IntelliJ is open. All right, this is a bit of an issue. I guess okay. This is not good. Hold up. Seems like my license for IntelliJ is expired. Let's see. Let's grab one of these. All right. I guess we could use like CodePen or something. Is that what they use for online Java? Let's see. Start coding. Is it CodePen? It's not CodePen. What is it? Let's just do online Java compiler. JDoodle? Sure. Sure, whatever. This is really jank, but all right. Int x, or int array x equals new and oops 13. Let's have it have 13 place values. And then what will happen when we print this? Does anyone know? Do you think, okay, so we have a couple options of what will happen when we print out this. It could print out pretty much all the things in the array. It could print out like the name of the array or something like that. So there could be things that, I mean, okay. I'm wording this really awkwardly, but let's see. When we print it, we'll see, oh, it gives me a really weird string of text. That's because you can't print out an array like this. What this will do is it'll actually print out the place in the memory address of the array. So when you run and compile code, it gets stored to your RAM, your random access memory on your computer. And this is the address to it. I at 7960847B. So yeah, that's the address for the array in RAM, and it's like it's stored in like little cells. And then like maybe like every so often you'll have a cell that contains a tag, and then your computer uses this address, this tag, to reference the array. When you get like way down into like assembly language and binary code, that's how these things work. But we can just use the name instead of the address. So yeah, printing the array will not work. I'm not going to do this right now. So how do we print actually before? So yeah, I guess the goal today would be to print out all the values in an array. So for that, there's a specific method, which is that you have to print out every single little value in the array. So if our array has 13 values, we're going to have to print all 13 values. As you can see here, we have a bit of a problem because we don't know how to reference these values, right? How does the computer know, hey, I want to print out value 3, or I want to print out value 4, or I want to print out value 5? It doesn't know, like, because right now we can only reference the name. So in order to tell the computer which values I want to reference, there's a little system called the indexing system. Yeah, So the indexing system is just every value of the array, every int in the int array will get assigned another integer called the index. And so you can see here, we have an int array 40, 55, 63, 17, 22, 68, all yada yada. But this down here is the tag assigned to each of these cells, right? So instead of saying, I want the cell with value 40, we could say, I want the cell position 0. I want the cell position 3. So yeah, indexes are created just based off of like when you create the array, right? If we say like int 19, it'll automatically make 19 indexes, each for one for each of the 19 cells. And they're numbered in ascending order starting at 0. So the third cell in the array, 1, 2, 3, the third cell is going to have index 2 because the first cell's index 0, second cell's index 1, third cell's index 2. This is a bit confusing, and it's something you have to be very aware of. The index of the array is always 1 minus the cell number because the first cell is 0. Indexing starts at 0. And it just keeps going, like forever. If we make an array with like, I don't know, 1 million, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It'll make indexes of them. We can like do something like this. X dot length, I think it is. System dot out dot print line x dot length. And if I execute this, you can see it puts out 1 million. And that's a little function we can do. We'll explain that later. But you can see if it's size 1 million, it has 1 million indexes, it prints out 1 million. Yeah. And so in order to access or call a specific value of the array, what we do is we wrap it around in square brackets. So we say the name of the array, in this case, it would be R, stands for array. And then square bracket, and then the index, and then ending square bracket, like this. If we want to call, let's say we can set x of, let's say we'll set the first value of x to 3. And then we can print out the first value of x. And it'll print out 3. And so you can we can set the second value. Remember, index is 1 minus the place value of the cell. Get set this to 6. And we'll print out this, and then plus, let's quote, plus this, plus, make sure it's a string, plus, comma, space, plus x1. So this will print out the first value of the array, then the second value of the array, with a comma space in between, and it should work 3, 6. There we go. And I can keep doing this, right? We can set let's say, we'll set the millionth value. Remember, it's 1 minus, so the millionth value of the array will be the 999,999th index. It's always 1 minus. You have to let's be very aware of that. X 6 9s. Execute. Oh, we didn't set that to anything actually. I forgot. I'll set that to 19. How about that? And you can see 3 6 19. So we're individually modifying the values of the array, and we're setting them to different values. Let's see. Yeah. So we can. This is what we did in method 2. We can manually set every single value of the array to a different one. Like for example, if we had an array of size 10, remember that means the biggest index is 9, starts at 0, and we set that each to 1. The array will have each value to be 1, but you're using a lot of lines of code here, and if you had really big arrays, like array of size 1 million, like we just did, it gets really, really tedious to fill up each of these values, right? Like you don't want to type out 1 million lines of code, like array index 0 equals 1, array index 1 equals 2, array index 2 equals 3, right? You don't want to do that. That's not something that we want to do as coders. That would take a lot of time. It wouldn't be very efficient. Yeah, so instead, we can also use loops. So remember how in order to reference the array, we use like x of 0 or x of 1, right? The 0th index, the first index, and the 999,999th index of the array, right? Well, we can actually put variables in here too. There's nothing stopping us. We could make a variable right here that's like int y equals 3, and then we put y in here. And if we print it out here, it'll give us an error because we did not put a semicolon here. If we run it again, you could see we set the y, so we changed it, right? So we turned x of 1 to x of y is 3, and we're still referencing x of 1 here. So default values of arrays are 0, I guess, for int arrays. If we put like y here, you could see it gives us like 3, 6, 19. And then if we do like 3 here, it also gives us 3, 6, 19 because y equals 3, right? So it's basically substituting the array here, the value here and here. So yeah, variables work in here, which means we can actually loop through the entire array using a for loop. For int I equals 0, I is less than array dot length I plus plus. We can do something like this. X of I equals, let's say we'll have it equal to I. So so every value of the array is equal to its index. So yeah, we can run this, but we won't get any output. Oh yeah, also, this is actually very handy for looping through arrays, because remember when we talked about for loops before, we say like if we do something like x equal or int I equals 0, I is less than 100, I plus plus, I'll loop through 0 through 99. So it'll stop one short of 100. But that's actually what we want to do. So when we do like int I equals 0, I is less than array dot length, let's say array dot length is also 100. Let's make an array of like 100. Remember, we're referencing the index here. We're referencing the entire length. So the length of the array is 100, but the biggest index is 99. So if we had this loop through like let's say and hit 100, so it looped through all the zeros from all the numbers from like 1 to 100, we'd have a problem because one, we'd miss out the first number, right? Because we'd miss out index 0 because we're starting at 1. But also we'd go out of bounds because we're trying to reference the 100th, the index 100, but it doesn't exist in the array. And that's one of the errors you can actually get with arrays is array out of bounds exception. And that's what happens when you try to reference something that isn't when you try to reference an array or like call something from an array that isn't there. So if we could run this, we won't get any output. Actually, we will. Right, array.length, it's x.length. And I used a comma here. Here we go. Now it should work. Yeah, we don't get any output, but we can later. We can really easily have it throw an out of bounds exception if we do this. Let's try to set it to like 3 right here, and we can see it'll give us an error. Array index out of bounds is out of bounds exception. Index 100 is out of bounds for length 100. So that's because we're trying to reference index 100. Index 100 doesn't exist in the array, so it'll throw an error. And then we write another for loop. This is how you print out every single array or every single value of the array. I is less than x dot length, I plus plus, and then we do system dot out dot print. Let's do system out dot print x. Ooh, actually, let's do this. Plus x of I plus comma space, and if we execute this, semicolon. If we execute this, you see, so what we're doing here is we're first filling up every single part of the array to its index. So every single cell is being set to its index, and then we are printing every single one of them out. So we're going to do 0, 1, 2, 3, and it goes all the way up to 99. We could do this with different things too. Like we could just make arrays. Like for example, I think, yeah, hold up. Let's go back to the slides. We can make different types of arrays like string arrays, but here we go. Oh, hold up. Yeah. All right. Sure. Okay. Why don't we do this exercise? Yeah, that's fine. So we're gonna have you fill up this array with even numbers and then print it out up to. Okay. Well, it doesn't say how much should fill it up to, but just say fill an array with length. Make an array of length 5, which we already have for you here. And then fill it up with even numbers starting at 0. So it should be 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Those should be the 5 numbers you have. And we're looking for one array to be made, then 1 or 2 for loops, and then a system.out.println statement. It's printing everything out. So you should be using for loops to make your arrays. Actually, I'm going to do this with you guys first because this might be a bit weird. Yeah. All right. I'm just going to do this with you guys first because to give you guys a little hint, and then I'll give you guys a slightly different problem. All right. We're going to do int. Let's do array equals new. In array size 5. And then here we go. So we're going to make a for loop for in I equals 0, I is less than I'm drawing a blank here. I is less than array.length. And then I++. So we're going to actually make another variable called count. So int count equals 0. We're going to say count. We're going to say array of I equals count semicolon. Yeah, that should work. And then count equals 2. So keyboard. And then we're going to make another for loop here. And I equals 0. I is less than array.length. I plus system.out.println array of I. All right. So the reason why, okay, well, let's just explain what's going on here. So we're making a new array with size 5. That means the indexes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to make a new variable called count that starts at 0. And then we're going to loop through another variable called I. And while I is less than array.length, we're going to add 1 to I. So this is looping through every single index of the array, starting at 0, going up to 4. And then for so we're going to access the ith value of array, or I plus 1th value of array. And then we're going to set that to count, and then we're going to add 2 to count. We're going to add 1 to I. And we're going to keep doing that. How about this? Let's see if this works. Actually, that might not work. Let's open up a new Google Doc so that I can show you guys how to code. Let's see, file, or what is it? Insert table. Let's see, we're going to want number of loops. Count, I think 3. All right. Let's see. Okay, let's just add some of that. So this is going to be value of array. Actually, no, this is going to be number of loops. Number of iterations. This is going to be count, and this is going to be array. Oops. This is also the same as the value of I. So on the 0th iteration, count is going to be 0, and array is going to be 0, null, 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 null. So before we set an array, the places are actually still there, and the cells are still there, but they're not filled with anything. So that we're going to say they're going to be filled with null. So null is the universal nothing, right? 0 is actually a number. Null is like null is like no number, basically. It's like I saw this joke on the internet. It's like you can think of null as and 0. So 0 is like when you have a number filled up, that's gonna be like you have a roll of toilet paper on the toilet paper holder. 0 is like when there's no toilet paper, but the cardboard roll is still there. And then null is like when the cardboard roll isn't there. So there's just nothing. Nothing there, basically. So yeah, null is and you can use null with other things too, like strings, like with chars and booleans. I think, yeah, booleans would still work. And null is the default value. It's like if we do something like this, if we do something cheeky like int I. If we just initialize in I right here, actually that's going to break everything. If we initialize in J right here, in J is going to return null when you call it. It's going to print out 0, just because if we could do it something like semicolons in the wrong place. It's a bit of a typo right there. Yeah. Okay. Wait. Hold up. Let me do this. System.out.println J. There should be a default value here, but yeah. Okay. It's giving us an error because J isn't initialized, so we can't print it out. But J is actually null, and you can't print out null. So kind of. Well, I mean, you could, but yeah. Anyways, back on track. 1. We've added count. We've added 2 to count. So because every time we iterate, we add 1 to I, 2 to count, and we're setting the next value to be 0 to null. And we do the same thing too for this is 0 to for null. 3, 6, 0, 2, 4, 6, null. And finally, we have 4, 8, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. And this entire array is filled and gets printed out. We don't actually need any of this. So with this code, this is how you add 2. How about we modify the problem a bit? It should print out multiples of 3. So it should print out let's say an array of size 9. And it should print out multiples of 3. So it's 0, it starts at 0, then it goes 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27. And that's 10. It should just stop at 24. Yeah, okay. So print out multiples of 3. There's different ways you could do this that I'll accept, but once you've done Initializers to meet, I'll keep the code up as well if you guys want to look at it. Let's see if we can make this bigger. Make this bigger? We can. Here we go. A bit too big. There we go. All right, there's the code. I'll actually comment this as well. Initialize array. Actually, let's here initialize array and var and count var. Again, there's a lot of different ways you could do this, but I clicked something. There we go. But this is just one way I've taught you. If you guys think of another way on your own, I'll be very happy. There we go. All right, you guys have about, I'd say, I'll give you 5 minutes till 3:36. I'm gonna go eat my enchilada. If you have any questions, you can just unmute or GM me. All right, time's up. If you guys, have answers. All right, I'm just gonna go over the solution right now. There's no one submitted their stuff, but anyways, so if you want to do a size 9 and then increments by 3, we just do this. We change two numbers. We change this one right here. We create an int size of 9. This can all stay the same because these for loops are just incrementing, or just looping over the size of the array. It doesn't matter what size it is, it'll always loop through it. And then we're just going to add 3 to count every loop. And if we come and execute this, you'll see we get, 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. So yeah. Although there is a different way you can do this. I'll go over alternate solutions. So you could do this. We could actually get rid of the count variable. We could do this. Array of I equals I times 3, like this, and then we can execute this, and it gives us the same value. Although, if we want to do something like start at, let's say, well, we want to start at 1 and do multiples of, add 3 every iteration, right? So it's like 3x plus 1. We could do that actually. We can just do this. Oops. We're gonna do this. Put that in parentheses. Plus 1. That should, So now we have 1 added to each. So yeah, this is an alternate solution. All right, let's talk about some more arrays. Okay. We didn't go over int arrays or string arrays yet, but it's basically the same thing. Each of these has its own index. Like this would be index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is the question here? There is no question. All right. Oh, I see the question. Okay. What does this print out? You could say we have 2 arrays here, actually. Hold up, how do I? There we go. We have 2 arrays here. We have this one, the string array, and we have the int array. And then, oops, let me use different colors, actually. That would be a good idea. Here we go, red and blue. So this right here is the int array, and this right here is the, wait, actually wrong colors. This right here is the int array, and this right here is the string array. So you can see, along with using variables, we can also use we can also use just array values, which are variables in themselves. This right here is looping through the int array. Yeah. All right. You guys could probably get 10 minutes for this 350. DM your answers to me, please. And thank you. All right. Time's up. Okay. Oh, something happened. Here. All right. So let's see. We got okay. So let's go. Let's go through the code. So yeah, we already kind of went through it before. But the answer was just wash your hands. Where's the text box? Wash your hands. I don't care like what format you did. Like if you put it like this, or like just like this. I was just looking for like you understand what was looping through and yeah, just how to deal with arrays like that. But what was I gonna say? Yeah. Okay. Let's go through the code. So we have an array with the numbers 1, 3, and 4. We have just a word bank kind of please wash, sanitize your hands clean. And then we have in I equals 0. This is just a while loop, kind of like the for loop that we did before. Actually, exactly like the for loop we did before. And then it loops through, and then every single number of I. So it'll loop through 1, 3, 4. It'll loop through 3 times. It'll make I. It'll make I go 0, 1, 2. And it'll make this be the first iteration will be 1, then it'll be 3. 3, and then it'll be 4. So this is 0, 1, 2. This is 1, 3, 4. And then you can see if we're accessing the first index, it'll be wash. The third one will be your. And the fourth one will be hands. And it makes wash your hands. And then that just gets printed out. So that was the answer to the question. A couple of you got it, which is great. Yeah. All right. Sure. You know what? Yeah. Okay. So we talked about primitive data types like int, string, boolean, double array. Array's not primitive, but stuff like that. But now we get to make our own data types using classes and objects, which will be tough because I don't have IntelliJ. Let's here. I'm gonna try booting it up again. All right. Anyways, so there's a lot of differences between primitive data types and classes. Like for classes, you can write your own functions for them. Like for example, you can, let's say you wanted to write let's say you're making a data type called cat, right? And you want it to be all the representations of a cat, like have the color of its eyes, the color of its fur, the breed of a cat. I don't know why. How many toes it has, if it has like any diseases, what it likes to eat, stuff like that. Or like, for example, if we made an enemy inside the game, like here, you'd need certain attributes like the health, the speed, the attack damage, maybe like the AI where it spawns, stuff like that. This will all be stored in your own data type, and the advantages of this is you're able to write your own functions, which you have to go over. All right, so functions are like code sets. They're basically like a set of instructions that your code can run over and over again. And let's see. Okay, hold up. I am going to fix my IntelliJ so that I can get. So yeah. Let's see what type of we can do. Void. Let's see what we want our function to do. Let's say we wanted to add 1. add 1, and then we're going to make a variable up here in x equals 0. Add 1. Here we go. Oops, we're getting an error. Semicolon expected. I wonder if this will help. Right, we need a public void. This does not work. I see. Okay. So we're gonna have to actually public void add 1. This should work, right? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so yeah, we put it inside the main method. You can't do that. You can't put functions and functions, obviously. So we're gonna say, all right. So yeah, basically, there's a couple of different parts to a function. So when you initialize a function, there's a keyword. It's like something like public void, or like public int, or like public string, or like public boolean, and public void. So this thing right here is going to be a return method. I wonder if I'm... Yeah. So yeah, this is the return method right here. This is what it's going to return. So void returns nothing. Int returns an integer. And so yeah, returning is basically the output of the function. So you can only have one data type of output. That's just to keep things like neat and organized. Like, for example, you're often hooking up these functions to other things. And if you return like a random data type, like sometimes they return an int, sometimes they return a string, that'd be a big problem. So yeah, only one return type. It's going to be either string, int, boolean, character, any of that type, any of that stuff. But right now we're not going to return anything because we're going to have an input. So in these parentheses is going to be the input. We're going to input an int x, a string or an integer called x, and then we're going to add 1 to x, x plus equals 1 or x plus plus. And then actually, let's have it return an integer. I'm going to return x. Here we go. And then what we can do is we can call add 1 on x right here, like this, right? It's like a variable, basically. Actually, we're getting an error. Static here. There we go. And then we can actually print this out. System dot out dot println add 1, and then here we go. And then if we print this out, we can see it adds 1 to x, and then returns it. It's building, and then it returns 1, right? So basically, we've made a snippet of code that when we call it on a variable, if we call add 1 to x, it will add 1 to it, right? This can be different. Like this can be number. We can name this whatever we want. And then, because this is like a self-contained snippet, by the way. This is like not part of this code. This is like you can think of it like a set of instructions, like a recipe, basically, telling you how to cook food, right? Let's say you're making a full dinner, and then you need a recipe for, let's say, meatloaf, and then you need a recipe for spaghetti and meatballs, and then they can all come together on this dinner table and be set here, and then you can have an output, which is a final output, which is this, which is your dinner. So yeah, these can be called as many times as you want. We could like call this twice. But whenever we call it, we will put this input into the function, and it'll give us an output. Like, oh, actually, we need to do this. We're adding 1 to x. Like this. All right. So what this will do is it'll take the input, put it into the first add one, it'll take the out. Oh, right. This should be another variable. This should be in y equals this. Y equals this. All right, yeah. So now it should work. Yeah, so we're taking the input of this, we're feeding it through. So we're taking 0 as the input, putting it in. We're getting an output of 1, and we're putting that into the input of the next function, and then we're putting it into another. So you see, just remember parentheses input, return output, and then you need to specify input type and everything else like public, static, and then stuff like that. All right. This is all the JetBrains stuff that I just did. This is something that we don't need. This is something that we don't need. Okay. So where were we? Right. So you can attach. Okay. You can attach objects to functions to objects. Like for example, if we wanted to make a function that will, in our kitty cat example, if we wanted to make a function that will tell you, print out like all the information about the cat, right? We can make that. Let's make a new object, and I'll demonstrate, and we'll live code this. Where are we? Here we go. Let's make a new Java folder. New Java class cat. Okay. So we have a new class. This is how I make classes, just like how we made a class in your setup function and your code. We're gonna make a new class. Actually, we need this in a package, but whatever. We'll see if it works. Yeah. So a new class called cat. We can have some variables like in age, in string name. Let's see, what else? What other variables? I guess string color, string breed, string favorite food, and stuff like that. And then in a class, you're always going to have a constructor, and it's a type of function. And how you make a constructor is you put in the name of the class. In this case, it'd be cat, followed by 2 parentheses, and then the curly brackets. And what a constructor does is it's a setup function for your class. Yeah, it's a setup function for your class, and basically we have a bunch of variables here, right? We have age, name, color, breed, and favorite food, but we're not setting it to anything, and that's because when we make each individual cat, we're going to set it to individual items in the class. So we can make like cat 1, and it'll have the age 3, name, Jeremy, color, blue, breed, Siamese, favorite food, I don't know, Purina, fish flakes or whatever. And then you can have another cat that has a different age, different name, different color, different breed, different favorite food. But if we set them all right here, each cat that we make would have by default the same values. You'll see in a second. It's a lot easier to explain. So we're going to pass in as inputs every single temp age, string temp name, string temp color, string breed. Yeah, that's one of the variables. Temp breed, actually. These are all temporary. You'll see in a sec. And string temp fav food. Okay, so we have all these variables, and then that are being called in as inputs. And then we're gonna set each of these. These are temporary, right? These are in a function. Now, as we recall, like function. Ooh, I deleted all of it, but functions are separate from the rest of the code. So these variables don't actually you can't reference them out here. We can't say like system.out.println temp age. We can't do that because, well, one, you can't execute code inside of a class. You have to do it inside of a function in the class. But also it's just not accessible from here because these are just the names that we give to the inputs that we're going to use in the function. All right, so we're just going to do something like temp or this dot is a keyword. It's just saying it's referencing the class, right? The class variable. So this dot age equals temp age. So what this dot does is it just points to this thing. It points to any variable in the class or the default class variables instead of like a variable in the function, for example. And we could do this dot name equals temp name. This dot color equals temp color. I don't actually have cat, so I don't know like if this is how a cat actually is, but temp read, and this dot favorite food equals temp favorite food. And so now, so now all the inputs all the inputs we're putting into the constructor will come out as will be set to these variables up here. Are you following? All right, I guess so. So now I guess we're gonna write a function that demonstrates why people will want to use a class. So we can write class functions, basically methods they're called. And what methods do, so functions in the class are called methods. I know this is very sudden and we're getting through a lot of stuff here, but try to follow along. We'll have a lot of, a lot of review time later. But yeah. So how methods work is you just create a function. We're going to say public. Actually, up here, we want this to be private. So this keyword private here just makes it so that anything outside of the class cannot access variables in the class. So you can only modify these variables in the class if you are executing code from within the class. So for example, if we did something like, if we typed in something like favorite food equals, I don't know, fish. Let's say that. I don't class favorite food. How about this? This stuff favorite food equals fish. I can type. Actually, no. Okay, that's actually weird. Oh, we have to do it in here, right? Okay. So you can see we're executing this code from within the class right here, so it's gonna work. But if we execute it from like here, it's not gonna work because it's gonna say, "What is this?" I can't see it from outside. I can only see it from inside. But yeah. Anyways, let's make a function. So public just means you can run it. You can execute it from anywhere. You can execute it from outside the class. You can execute from inside the class, which is usually what we want. We want variables to be hidden. We want the functions to be shown. But usually, there's also some like hidden functions you want. It's very, very dependent on the situation. But even then, all right. So let's see. What do we want to do? We want to make getter and setter methods. So we're gonna write public void set. Let's do set age. And it's going to take in an integer, temp age. And so what this will allow us to do is it will allow us to change the age after we've set it. And these are kind of standard for like any class you want to make. You'd want getter and setter methods because you want to interact with the class. So for example, temp age, this dot age equals temp age. oops, we want this, and then we're gonna do something like set. You shouldn't copy paste code, but I'm gonna say do it to say not as I do. Int set name equals string name. This dot name equals name. We could do something like temp name. I like to do temporary variables. I know some coders don't. Like set inputs as temp because it just reduces confusion. Like if we had name here and name here, it'd be really confusing. Like name equals name, what is happening? Instead, we're gonna do temp name, and it's gonna be a lot clearer. So yeah, and you just want to do this for like all the things. You also want to make getter variables, public int get age, and it's gonna input nothing, and then it's gonna just return this dot age. Just want to do this for all the variables. Given the time we have, I'm probably not going to do it for all these variables, but we can come over here. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So we're going to import cat.java. Let's see what's wrong. Cat. Okay, it's in the default package. Let's go. We don't need to import it, hopefully. So we could do something like cat x equal or cat c1 equals new cat, and then so we need age. Let's say it's 3 years old. What is it? Name. We want to name the cat. Anyone have a name for the cat? Hello? Oh, am I talking?
Yes, you are talking.
All right. Do you want to name the cat?
Jeb. Jeb.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Jeb.
What? Tibbles? All right. Wait. Sure. You know what? I couldn't hear you as well. Jab. Okay, Jab. Thank you. Jab. What's the next variable? Color. What color do you want the cat to be? Any ideas for color? Orange. All right, orange. And then how about, what's the next value? It has to be in the same order, by the way. It's also to be in the same order as your inputs. So your inputs have to be in the same order. Order matters. What about the breed? I don't know many cat breeds. How about Siamese? That's the only one I know. And then for the last value, we're going to want favorite food. Let's just do fish. All right. Fish. So the entire thing is is how we create a new cat. Usually we'd actually want this to be capitalized, but I don't want to go through the hassle of that. Usually make your classes capitalized. Okay, cat c2 equals new cat. We're gonna say this one's 4 years old. Name is Tibbles. Color, we're gonna make it black. Breed, we're gonna make a Siamese 2. This is the one I know. And favorite food, I guess this can be
Sardines.
Sardines. Sure. Okay, so now we can do like something like c1 dot get age. We can print this out. System dot out dot println. There we go. And if we run this, there should be no errors. It should return 3, right? Because it's the one, the age is 3. We could do something like c2 dot get or dot set age for, or actually we'll c1, and then we can see we'll set the age to 4, and then we'll get the age, which is 4, and it'll return 4. So in terms of methods, these are the most basic that you can do. There are like way more advanced methods. Like for example, yeah, we can make this a tuxedo cat. Make this lowercase just to be consistent. All right. Like for example, we can make a method that just prints out all the information. Like this. Public void to string, or actually we'll do like print info. And this will do return, or actually no, system.out.println. I wonder if escape sequences work. Ooh, they do. All right. So age colon space plus this dot age plus new line. What was the next one? Name colon space plus this dot name plus slash n. Also slash n or backslash n is the escape sequence for a new line. So if you do backslash n, it gets highlighted in orange and it makes a new line. Backslash is the escape character, by the way. So like this will just let you use like markers like this backslash n inside of a string to make different things happen, like new lines, like I don't know, Unicode characters, I think. Just things, yeah, things like that. Let's see, what was the next one? Was it name, then color, right? Color colon space plus this dot color plus backslash n breed colon space plus this, oops, I did something, plus this dot breed plus backslash n favorite food colon space plus this dot favorite food. All right. So when we call this function on a cat, like, or method on a cat, like for example, c1 dot get, or sorry, c1 dot print info, we could see it should print out all of the information of cat c1, and that's correct. So yeah, these are just like some of the functions that you could do. For example, we could write a piece of code that will compare the name of two cats and see if they're like a love calculator style, see if they're compatible. Ooh, actually, this might be a bit difficult. Let's see. Public Boolean compatible. Actually, let's do something a bit simpler. Let's compare the age difference between the two cats. So we'll have it return. We'll have it return an int. Int public int compare age, and then we're gonna have it input a cat c1, and ooh, we get an error. What's our error? This thing returns it, right? Return. We're gonna leave this blank for now. It's gonna return nothing. Yeah, it's gonna give us an error for now, but that's fine. So we could do c1 dot get age minus this dot age, and then we'll return this. Oh, don't need this. This is a issue, not a statement. Right, we need this in the return statement. There we go. All right. Excuse me. What this will do is it'll return the ages of cat C1 or whatever cat that we call this on and the cat that we put it in. So for example, we could do C1 dot compare age to C2. And if we run this, ooh, actually we need to print this out. C2. Yeah, you see, so C1 and C2 have the same age. We set this to 4, and then this one has 4, so it returns 0. If we set this back down to, if we let's do C2 dot set age. There we go, to let's say 8. And then we run this. We can see this will return 4 because the age difference is 4 between these two, because this one's 8, this one's 4. And yeah, so I'll let you guys do your own stuff with functions. I want you guys to code a dog function now. So I want the dog function to have the age, name, and breed of the dog. I want you to have a constructor that will set, that has the inputs age, name, and breed, temp age, temp name, temp breed. I want you to set those values to the values of the dog class. And then I want you guys to write get set functions for age, name, and breed, and get functions for age, name, and breed. And yeah. That is basically what I want you to do. So you guys will probably have until the rest of class to finish this. Yeah, I'll keep this up as well. If you guys want me to scroll, just tell me. Actually, let me write this down in chat. Hold up. Okay. Write a dog class with age, with getter and setter functions for age, name, and breed, as well as constructors. Yeah, that's all I'm looking for. Yeah, you guys have about until, let's give you 20 minutes, or 17 minutes actually now, to finish this.
Wait, is constructors is like part of the code, or is like they're just like some type of dog or something?
Yeah, the constructor is this. This is the constructor of the class. This is basically, it's a method. But the method, you don't have any like the public void. You just have the name of the class. This cat, and then you have the inputs of all of the functions, and then you have, or all the values, like all the, you, for the input of the function, you have all of the variables. Like for example, you have age, you have a temp age, you have a name, you have a temp name, and then you set the temporary variables to the variables in the class, right? Because we're inputting the inputs. Basically what this does is it just gives it, when you create a function, you'll have to run the constructor variable, or the constructor. When you create the class, sorry, you'll have to run the constructor function, because right, we run it here. New cat. This is the constructor function right here. And so what we want to do in the constructor function is give all of our variables values. So we don't want any nulls. So we're going to have inputs for all the variables. We're going to set, and these are going to get the values. And we're going to take the values and we're going to set them to our functions, or our variables. I'm getting these three confused. But yeah, that's the point of a constructor, as well as just to do any other setup stuff. So yeah, that's how constructor goes.
It seems like you guys aren't done, so I'll give you guys 5 more minutes, I guess.
I have a problem.
Yeah, ask
I
away.
literally just deleted like half of my whole code
You can press
on
Control Z.
accident. Okay. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. All right. You know what? I'm just gonna go over the answer. I don't think I might run out of time. So, all right. I think I might run out of time. So we're gonna just kind of speed run through this. Oh no. There we go. There we go. Everything's blocking it. Okay. So we needed 3 variables in age, string name, and string breed, I think. And then we wanted a constructor, so dog int temp age string temp name, string temp breed. All right, and then let's close off this constructor with this dot age equals temp age, this dot name equals temp name, and this dot breed equals temp breed. And then so that's a constructor done. So now we need getter and setter methods. So we can do public. Ooh, actually, we need this to be private as well. Forgot about that. Oops. Private and private. All right. Public void get age. And we're going to just copy this and paste it 3. Oops. Copy this. 2, 3. Get age, get name, get breed. And this is going to return. Oops, sorry. This should be public int. This should be public string. This should be public string as well. My bad. All right. Return. Oh, let me retab. Return this dot age. And we're just gonna copy this, paste this, paste this. Return this dot age, return this dot breed, and return this dot name. All right. Now we need our setter methods. Public int. No, sorry. Public void set name. And this is going to take in a int temp name. As, ooh, sorry. I'm getting my things confused. It should be set age. And this should be age. And so this dot age equals temp age. And then we're just going to, oops, I'm messing up. Paste this a couple times, and then we can do name. This should be string temp name, and this should also be name. And then this should be breed. This should be breed, and this should be breed. Let's see, we have 3 minutes left. Let's, ooh, actually, this should be name. This should be breed. This should be string. All right. Yeah, 3 minutes left. Let's go and test. We're gonna grab a dog d1 equals new dog. I'm gonna say something like int. Sorry, 3 Jack and golden retriever. Semicolon. All right. So we're gonna system.out.println d1.get age. And then we're gonna do the same thing for get age, get name, and get breed. Oops, I'm messing up all over the place. Get breed. And then we come over here, we do set d1.set age to 4, d1.set name, or actually let's just do this. And we do system, oh no. Okay, we do system.out.println age. Yeah, there we go. So we run this, we should, Yeah, okay. So we got 3 Jack Golden Retriever, 4. That works. All right, you guys can go now. Class is dismissed. This is, oh yeah, I should probably show you the answers if you guys want to check. So this is the answer. All this. So yeah, you guys can go now. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.